Hello and welcome to Eye on Africa, France 24's program focused on the continent. I'm Charlie James and these are the headlines. Mass deportations from Angola have put hundreds of thousands of Congolese at risk back in their homeland. Friday, the UN Human Rights Chief warning of serious human rights violations, including murder at the hands of security forces. South Africa's huge VBS Mutual Bank scandal has left poor customers holding the bag. Our team on the ground visited the northern Limpopo province to hear directly from victims. And the Declarant Festival gets underway in Burkina Faso. The art and entertainment showcase turns Ouagadougou into a giant stage, and we'll take you there. Our top story: the United Nations condemning human rights abuses committed during the expulsion of Congolese out of Angola. Following an October deportation order by Angola's government, more than 300,000 people have reportedly crossed back into DR Congo. Now, the UN's High Commissioner for Human Rights, Michelle Bachelet, says the office has confirmed around 6 deaths, reportedly at the hands of security forces. The international body has called for perpetrators to be held accountable. Joining us for more on this story is Ravina Shamdasani. She is the spokesperson for the UN Human Rights Office. Thank you for being on the program with us. Now, Angola has called allegations of abuse completely false. Explain to us how the UN has been able to get information about these killings and human rights violations.
When we heard about this massive operation to deport large numbers of people all at once, we deployed a team to Kamako in the Kasai province of the Democratic Republic of Congo, where a lot of these people had ended up. And we were able to verify, based on the testimony that we collected, that at least 6 people died, allegedly due to live ammunition used by Angolan security forces. We had many more reports of deaths as well as injuries caused by people being burned when their houses were burned down, tear gas inhalation, and by live ammunition as well. But we haven't been able to verify further these reports.
Now, Angola says this deportation operation is aimed at ending illegal diamond mining in the country. Why do they believe Congolese migrants are responsible for this?
Well, indeed, the operation, according to the Angolan government, was launched for national security reasons and to protect the economy, scapegoating migrants in the process. Many of these people were, we understand, irregular migrants. They had been living for years, if not decades, in Angola, carrying out diamond mining activities. What I need to be very clear about is we are not questioning the Angolan government's right to deport irregular migrants. What we are saying is that if deportations have to be carried out, they need to be carried out in line with the rule of law and human rights of each individual migrant. Deporting more than 300,000 people in a space of just 3 weeks is clearly not going to be carried out in a way that is human rights friendly. It clearly does not leave any room for individualized assessments. And we are concerned that there have been serious human rights violations in the process, including killings.
As you said, over 300,000 people, that's a huge number to cross the border in under a month. What are conditions for them back on the Congolese side of the border when they get there?
The conditions are very dire. Many of these people are sleeping out in the streets. Some of them have managed to find ad hoc shelter arrangements with other families, but the vast majority are out in the streets. And we are very worried because this is the Kasai region of the Democratic Republic of Congo, where just a year ago there were massive human rights violations, mass killings, sexual violence, the burning down of houses, mass displacement of people. And the perpetrators of these violations were never held accountable. So we are very concerned that this huge influx of people into this already volatile region will lead to a rise in ethnic tensions and other violations, in addition to the very dire humanitarian situation that these people are facing. So we're calling on the government of the DRC and the international community to do all it takes to ensure the protection of these migrants, of these returnees, as well as taking care of their humanitarian needs, access to safe drinking water and sanitation, access to adequate food and shelter for them.
Ravina Shamdasani from the UN Human Rights Office, thank you for joining us here on France 24. We're getting reaction to a video that has renewed the debate over France's role in the Rwandan genocide. French news outlet Mediapart released footage on Thursday that appears to show the French army ignoring a mass killing of the Tutsi minority in the summer of 1994. Now, the French military has denied knowledge of the Bisesero massacre until days after it began, but the video indicates they knew earlier. Speaking to France 24, a leader of a UN mandate in Rwanda at the time, known as Operation Turquoise, responded to charges of inaction.
It's easy to sit on the couch with a glass of whiskey and say, oh, they should have gone in. No, I'm the commander of the operation. I'm responsible for the security of my men and for the success of the operation under the mandate given to me by the UN. All this uproar shows a lack of understanding of how military missions work.
But a journalist who reported from Rwanda during the genocide pushed back against claims that French forces lacked knowledge. This clip from France 24's program, The Debate.
When we went back on the base in Rwanda, in Kibuye, I saw for a very long time the French officer on sat phone telling the story of Bisesero. And the next day, no one's moved. So 2 days later, no one moves. 3 days later, there was a move. But that move was done because some French soldiers disobeyed to orders. That was incredible to see that, incredible. And the problem is that for years, there have been so many lies on Bisesero. During the first years, French army and French politics just said nothing happened. They really said nothing happened. This is not the point. Nothing happened. Bisesero world, this is perfect. And it has been taken something like 10 years before they begin to say, well, there is a little problem. And then lies, 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 and lies. And that video is showing that everyone knew at that time, which is obvious since the beginning. And the problem is why France takes so many time just to see the obvious things, which are just under the nose.
Turning now to South Africa, the VBS Mutual Bank scandal has been called the biggest bank fraud in the country's history. More than 100 million euros worth of funds were siphoned over 3 years, and it is the poor who are paying the price. The regional bank is very popular in the north of the country. Our team visited the Limpopo province to speak to victims of the graft.
In the Limpopo province, VBS Bank is very popular. It is one of the very few black-owned banks in South Africa, but it is no longer operational, as the management stole 110 million rands. Shareholders are shocked.
It was a free-for-all. Those who are close in the inner circle of those who were in power. The same black guys who are supposed to help fellow black people through this institution were instead bullying fellow black people. I'm one of those people that I experienced their bullying.
Shareholders were deceived and customers ruined. Eliza has banked for 20 years with VBS. She was only given back a quarter of her savings.
The government must help us because their employees are involved.
City officials allegedly enriched themselves. They stand accused of investing their budgets with VBS. Now 14 municipalities could be insolvent. Union leaders are furious.
And ultimately we are going to have a provincial march for the ANC to come and redeploy their thieves.
The nation is in shock following the Reserve Bank report called the Great Bank Heist. The document also mentioned VBS's loan to ex-President Jacob Zuma.
We would like to get to the detail of what happened there and hold him accountable if he is in any way guilty of participating in undue funds.
People in the Limpopo hope that the government could save the bank, as this scandal affects one of the poorest areas in the country.
The 10th edition of the Declarant Festival kicked off Friday in Ouagadougou. The week-long event offers an innovative platform for dozens of African artists, with performances sometimes taking place inside people's homes. Our team in Burkina Faso takes you there.
Ouagadougou's Gongan neighborhood transforms into a giant stage to host the 10th edition of the Declarant Festival. For a week, performances will take place inside homes, courtyards, and alleys. And just like with this chorus, local residents are encouraged to participate.
Le concept récréatral, c'est le théâtre en famille.
The recreatral concept is theatre for and by families. It's to bring theatre to the population and allow mothers, children and young people to experience art that used to belong to the elite.
The festival is also a way to discover new talent, to revisit popular songs, and to make art accessible to a younger public. On the other side of the neighborhood, a Guinean theater troupe is rehearsing its latest show, a play called Dance with the Devil, at the crossroads between theater and poetry, and that will be performed in the courtyard of this private home.
It's great. It's an opportunity to decolonize theatre and bring it to the people, to make it more accessible. It's amazing when you look at the festival's effect on the neighborhood. You just have to experience it.
With the participation of locals and of over 150 African artists, the festival also hopes to become a window in which to showcase the continent's creative talent.
Don't go away, there's more news coming up right here on France 24.